On a rocky outcrop that smells faintly of ozone and old volcanic ash, Gia watches Kong like he's the only thing in the world that makes sense. She's smaller than him, of course, and human concerns still fit in her pocket. But Kong, towering, messy, stubborn, answers to something older. That relationship is the emotional heart of the movie, and if you come in for the monsters, stick around for the girl who quietly keeps them tethered to the people below. The movie opens with a sense that the world has shifted. Godzilla has reclaimed his place at the top of the ocean's food chain, and humanity has learned to live with titans in the margins. Kong, meanwhile, rules a reclaimed Skull Island, brought into the daylight world with a crown of scars and a curiosity that makes him, in his own way, almost human. Early scenes set the tone. Big, beautiful visuals of cities that have adapted and a hollow earth that hums with ancient power. Scientists sniff around at tectonic anomalies. Naval ships stand like tiny toys beneath massive shadows. And Monarch, because of course Monarch is there, keeps a clipboard and a lot of worried faces. An inciting ripple shows up as abnormal readings from deep below the earth. Godzilla's senses flare, something prehistoric and enormous stirs, and he reacts violently, washing an ocean platform out of existence just to make a point. The film uses Godzilla like a weather pattern. When he's angry, the world notices. Kong, who has a softer, more personal line through Gia, feels the same wave but from a different angle. Where Godzilla's territory is the surface and the sea, Kong's is connected to the hollow earth. He's the bridge to a place that feels like myth and stomach acid at the same time. Our human cast, researchers, pilots, and Monarch operatives, have varying ideas about what to do. Some want to let Godzilla handle it, which, granted, is a persuasive argument. Others want to go down into hollow earth to see what's waking up. And a very small but loud group wants to weaponize everything. Predictably, the weaponized crowd gets their own sandbox machine, which of course breaks. It's an old monster movie lesson. Humans mess with a thing they don't understand, then must apologize to a giant radioisotope beast in a more direct way. Also predictably, people you like get into trouble for trying to do the right thing, because drama. Kong's arc is quietly heartbreaking. He's not just a big animal. He carries the memory of his kin and a sense that someone or something out there was once in charge. We see Kong test relics, stomp across subterranean cathedrals, and connect, through Gia, to the memory of a civilization in the hollow earth where titans once lived in something like a hierarchy. Kong wants answers, and his curiosity is what propels the team deeper into the planet's belly. This is where the movie leans into world building. The hollow earth is lush and weird, full of gigantic flora, strange light, and fossils that look like cathedral columns. There's a sense of archaeology, but on a scale where your spade is a tree trunk. The threat is introduced with deliberate dread. It's not a small, petty monster. It's an old, organized force that thinks in empires. The new empire is literal. A powerful alpha titan, a ruler with motives beyond simple hunger or temper, has been reawakened. It doesn't arrive like a one-off beast. It moves like a force that can rally other creatures, redirect tectonic energy, and shift the politics of titans entirely. The initial clashes feel almost unfair. Godzilla attacks with nuclear fury, Kong counters with baffling cleverness, and the new Titan responds not just with brute strength, but with strategy. Add a few monstrous lieutenants that crawl out of crevices, and the stage is set for escalating chaos. One of the movie's strengths is how it stages its battles. They're not just spectacle, they're choreographed arguments. Godzilla's fights are thematic. He asserts dominance, and environments are rewritten in his wake.
Kong's fights are personal. He engages like a scrappy champion defending his kin. Watching them both tackle the new Titan at different points is satisfying because the film gives each approach room to be effective and to fail spectacularly. There are tense sequences where cleverness wins the moment, Kong using the terrain or a human-made device distracting a guard monster, followed by huge, messy set pieces where things get smashed in ways that make your stomach drop and grin at once. Human stories thread through to keep stakes intelligible. The scientists are less annoying than in some monster movies, positioned instead as people who know enough to be dangerous, but still undercut by fear and hubris. The emotional beats work because they mirror the Titan's arcs. A scientist who's too curious risks everything, a leader who's too cautious loses the initiative, and a childlike trust, that's Gia, becomes the negotiating tool no one expected. There's also a subplot where an antagonist human faction tries to seize control of a Titan ability for military advantage. They succeed temporarily, and the film doesn't shy away from showing the costs: cities scarred, innocent lives put in the crossfire, and a moral ledger that doesn't balance until the end. Mid-movie, the team descends into the true heart of the Hollow Earth. It's gorgeous and intimidating. Giant ruins, statues of titans, and elegant decay, and a sense that an intelligent civilization once mapped relationships among monsters. Kong is recognized there, not in a human way, but in a titanic memory. He finds places that resonate with him, like a throne carved in basalt, and for a moment you believe Kong could be more than a monster. He could be a monarch. That feeling is short-lived because waking up an empire tends to happen with loud alarms. The antagonist Titan, let's call it the Emperor, has been beating the drum to reassert a hierarchical order where it sits at the top. Its awakening rewires old allegiances, and lesser creatures begin to move under its signal. The film cleverly uses sound to sell the political dimension. Godzilla's roars are sheer weather. The Emperor's calls are like commands that ripple through stone and tendon. There are tense moments where lesser titans hesitate and then follow the Emperor's cue, turning neutral monsters into a coordinated army. It's an escalation that forces the protagonists to rethink their usual one-on-one Titan brawl approach. Now it's a war, and wars require alliances. The heart of the movie turns on that alliance. Can Godzilla and Kong, whose relationship is complicated and competitive, line up long enough to stop a ruler who wants to reorder the world? Cue the montage of preparation. Humans ferry supplies, Kong learns a new tactic or finds a weapon relic, and Godzilla broods in the abyss like a sleeping storm. The filmmaking balances humor and gravity here. There's a little joke about a pilot who insists a particular flight path is definitely safe and then immediately regrets it, which breaks tension without undercutting stakes. The emotional through line remains Gia, who somehow becomes the bridge between ancient Titan memory and human ingenuity. She's not an action hero in the classic sense, but she has an uncanny ability to reach Kong when no one else can, and that's crucial. Battles that follow are complex. Individual fights are distributed across landscapes, skies, cities, and the Hollow Earth itself. The film stages a few breakout set pieces: an urban fight that reshapes a waterfront, a subterranean chase through bioluminescent forests, and a final clash that's cinematic enough to justify the movie's title. There's a satisfying sequence where Kong and Godzilla don't exactly coordinate verbally. No, they smash each other sometimes, but align their goals: stop the Emperor and salvage whatever remains of the natural order. The human contribution is meaningful. A tactical strike disables part of the Emperor's ability to control weaker Titans, giving Kong an opening.
It's not win by humans, it's win by cooperation, which is refreshing. The final confrontation is loud and smart. Godzilla turns the theater of war into a furnace, lighting the enemy up in radioactive protons, while Kong uses cunning in the environment, collapsing pillars, swinging debris, and ancient spikes to take advantage. The Emperor fights like a ruler who believes in destiny. It uses minions to keep the pressure off and tends to attack in formations that feel almost military. The movie gives both massive spectacle and small moments: Kong catching a falling teammate, or Godzilla making a last furious charge, that keep the drama human-sized amid the cosmic scale. There's a sequence where it looks like all might be lost: an implosion, a tidal wave, a collapsing chamber, and a tense silence where the camera suggests the cost will be permanent. Of course, this being a blockbuster, the resolution favors heroic endurance. The coalition, human and Titan alike, tips the balance. The Emperor is defeated with a combination of brute force, ingenuity, and the sacrifice. Don't worry, it's not about throwing away a character you just liked for cheap emotion. The Hollow Earth's political order collapses in a way that suggests things will stabilize, because no single Titan can dominate an entire planet without resistance. The ending is satisfying without being a box checked too neatly. Godzilla returns to the ocean as an alpha but wiser. Kong remains a stubborn, curious ruler who now knows more about his past, and humans have a renewed, uneasy respect for the balance they almost erased. Tone-wise, the film knows when to be solemn and when to wink. It pulls off a few self-aware lines. Someone mutters that they should have read the Hollow Earth clause in some treaty, so it can be jokey when needed. The visuals do a lot of the work. Composition and sound design create emotional beats without always resorting to dialogue. You leave the theater smelling faintly of smoke and feeling weirdly paternal about a 300-foot ape. It's okay to laugh at that. The movie's thematic core is about power and stewardship. Godzilla represents natural order and consequence. Mess up the environment and it bites back. Kong represents relational memory and guardianship. What you inherit, you protect. The humans are the complicated species in the middle, capable of both hubris and humble heroics. The new empire begs the question, who gets to lead a planet? And then answers in a way that feels earned. Not by humans raising themselves up, but by humans learning to live with powers they helped unearth. Pacing sometimes creaks. There are a couple of scenes where exposition lingers too long, and you feel the movie patting itself on the back for lore. But the action mostly compensates. The visual effects are great at scale. The Arrangers of Chaos treat every monster like a character with intent, not a CG toy. The human performances are solid, though this is, let's be honest, a movie about two massive animals, and the rest of us are supporting actors to their